Hello and welcome to tonight's edition of the Evening Review. My name is Toiwan Jabela, your host for tonight, and I'm joined in the studio by my colleague Ashley Smith, who is Namibian Sun's news editor. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Okay, let's quickly look actually at our front page for today's Namibian Sun. Welcome back. Ashley, our lead for today is around the stimulus package announced by government yesterday. A lot of excitement, a lot of reservations here and there. What did you make of it?
Well, firstly, it's something that you've been calling for in editorials over the last few days, for government to be decisive and come up with a stimulus package that is going to assist our people during this very, very difficult time of the coronavirus lockdown and national state of emergency, where businesses are not functioning, informal traders have been sent home from open markets, etc. So a very, very welcome move, but obviously, as you also mentioned, some concerning aspects about debt rising. But I also see that the finance minister has actually come and said that we're going to be dipping into some of our SACO revenues to fund this stimulus package. We're also going to be dipping into our emergency reserves, and that also a portion may also come from some loan facility. So although the kind of reservations and some of the detractions may be valid, it seems to be a mix of different sources of revenue that's going to be used for the package.
Indeed. And actually I suppose in times like this, you have no choice, do you? Debt to rise, of course, as a result of this. You will have to readjust your budget, maybe downwards. But you have no choice in times like this. You have to do what you have to do, isn't it?
Yeah, as we were discussing in the week, a budget is something quite strange, or a national budget, because you're actually working off projections of what you think you're going to get in terms of the different inflows of resources. I mentioned SACO revenues earlier. There's also obviously income tax from companies, individuals. So it is a big battleground at the moment for government in terms of projecting what it will get in as a result of this unfolding global pandemic, and obviously the impacts nationally, regionally, and obviously continent-wide on Africa.
And it's even worse when your budget has been postponed, the tabling of your budget, because now somehow you are just in the void in terms of really controlling your finances, because nothing is allocated specifically, nothing is announced yet. So it's a tricky one. But let's talk about one of the two other issues that have been raised, if I remember correctly. One is around the modus operandi of, okay, people are going to get $250 a month or a week.
A week, yeah.
So how are you going to trace these people? How are you going to actually deliver this money to them? That is one concern. And the other one is also around, we have analysts who are saying that they don't see properly how the common man, your informal settlement dwellers and informal economy participant going to benefit in that scheme. What are your thoughts?
Look, the modalities and the nuts and bolts need to obviously be clarified as soon as possible, so people can get some direction on how they apply, what are the kind of cutoffs and limitations in terms of income. But be that as it may, Toivo, I think, and that is why we were quite happy yesterday, is that we need to see, or government needs to make sure that it goes into the hands, into the pockets of the correct people, that there's no loopholes where people can clandestinely benefit, or people that are not supposed to be benefiting from the scheme, that they end up benefiting.
Exactly. Lastly, on this subject, Ashley, is this baptism of fire for the new finance minister, or is it actually an opportunity to start on a very bold and very decisive note like that?
I think if you look at all the major newspapers this morning, the finance minister was right there on the front page. Yeah. So yes, it is a bit of a baptism of fire. I don't think that he would have chosen to come into this very important post during a time like this. But obviously during a time of testing, your true character and your true abilities can start to show. And I think that is where Pumbushimi is at the moment. I think we're going to see him really take charge, and through this baptism of fire, either sink or swim. So we hope that he swims.
That's correct. Let's move to the next subject briefly before I let you go, Ashley, and that is the subject. Yesterday there was this huge debate in the country, especially in our media industry. State House yesterday invited NBC, One Africa, and NAMPA to State House for that briefing. And the rest of the media houses were told to just feed from the platforms of these three media houses. And there was a furor about it. People saying, how were the three selected? Why were others kept out? Of course, the underlying reason was that it's social distancing. They don't want crowded places. But what did you make of that as a newsman, and particularly from the point of view of both inclusion and just access to information?
Yeah. Look, we discussed before we came to the studio. I think logically I can understand why NBC, One Africa, and NAMPA were chosen. Yeah. You've got two radio broadcast media houses. Yeah. I mean TV broadcast media houses, and then of course you have a wire service that most of the major newspapers can access in NAMPA. Yeah. But I also I'm in agreement with your point that you raised with me earlier, in terms of either we exclude everyone, and when we have a situation where State House can make available a live feed themselves, and we can all feed from that. In the absence of that, the exclusion does kind of get people's temperatures rising. And you know how your colleagues in the media can get. So I think they were justified in what they were saying. You also spoke about a media statement that was released by the Namibian Media Trust. So I think during this time of the coronavirus, people have also raised this issue of kind of liberties and rights being kind of impeded. So I don't think the media is immune to that.
I think personally, again, Ashley, my view is that the principle, like you're saying, the principle of that decision was correct. Maybe the manner in which it was executed was not entirely correct, because, and you also need to understand how the media operates to understand, because if you are telling me to feed from my competitor's platform, first and foremost, I don't know whether I will be allowed to do that.
Exactly.
But secondly, we are also competitors. We have different audiences. There are people who actually trust my work.
Yes.
The moment I add a third party in my communication, then it becomes a bit tougher. But I understand. The Namibian Media Trust statement last night was saying essentially that they sensed, but it was also a fair statement to say we have to be very, very careful in times like this. Yes, it's true. We have to be careful about the corona, about the infection, and how crowdedness can lead to further incidences.
Yes.
But that we must also be careful not to use now this lockdown period as an excuse to suppress basic freedoms such as that one.
That is a fair statement, but we must also, Toivo, give kudos to the presidential spokesperson, Alfredo Ngari, for actually asking our questions at the press conference yesterday, and we obviously want to thank him for that.
No, he did very well, because I mean, for our viewers who do not know, so what Mr. Ngari did yesterday is that we are on a WhatsApp group of State House, and different media houses were allowed to post their photos of their questions. on the WhatsApp group, and then the presidential spokesperson who was at the press conference will then relay those questions to State House. So I agree, I mean, to the president and other officials. So in that case, I'm also very, very grateful. There are loose ends. It's extraordinary times.
Yes.
These are new things that we've never been before. It's a situation that we've never been in before, and therefore, to thrive at it as a first timer is not easy. So you can understand there will be always loose ends, but in the end, it will be great. Thank you, Ashley, for coming. I really appreciate your time. We are going on a short break, and we'll be back.
Whether you are in the bush, on the beach, or in a boardroom in Budapest, with Salt's desktop exchange point, you and your team can work on the same document at the same time, chat and video conference from any location. Just as if you're sitting in the same room. It's super. Salt brings together the power of Microsoft Teams and Logitech to deliver a teamwork experience that is out of this world. Increase profitability and responsiveness while enabling stellar collaboration experiences to your customers and empowering your colleagues. And make you a magnificent productivity multiplying machine. Work from anywhere, anytime, any device. Salt, in collaboration with Microsoft Teams and Logitech. Our business is enabling yours. Okay, now click for all the info.
Welcome back. Our colleague Kenya Kambowe is in Katima Mulilo in the Zambezi region, trying to figure out how the region is coping with coronavirus in terms of preparedness, the lockdown and everything. He spoke to the governor of the region, Lawrence Sampofu, and this is how their interview went.
Since the outbreak of this COVID-19, the Namibian government, His Excellency the President, has declared a state of emergency, and we are applying the state of emergency in the Zambezi region by complying to all the procedures as stated in the state of emergency, and also as documented in the government gazette number 7 is processed already. We are looking at the Regional Disaster Risk Management Committee, which came up by creating subcommittees which report to the Regional Disaster Risk Management Committee. These subcommittees are one on security, safety and security, looking at how the people are secured, maintain safety of the people, also our borders, and we have a subcommittee on accommodation, which is looking at how we are going to accommodate these people who are returning, mostly from abroad. As of now, we have 68 people who are put or who are quarantined coming from abroad. As we know that most of Namibians, they heard that Hosea Kutama International Airport is closed, so they have to fly to Lusaka, Zambia. Then from Lusaka, they travel by buses to Katima Mulilo. That's why we are receiving all Namibians who are returning home, not other nationals. Our borders are closed, only open for commercial and trade trucks, those who are using the Walvis Bay Lubumbashi corridor group. We make sure that no one from those drivers is accompanied, only the driver and the truck, that's all, so that they can proceed to Walvis Bay. We have also subcommittees on technical, those who are dealing with all technical things, transport. We have a committee on health that providing also health services to our people, giving information. That's the committee on communication and mobilization. That committee, I'm the one leading it. So I'm always on the radio, Selozi, to provide information to our people, more especially our people at the grassroots, at the villages. They must know what's happening, how to take care of themselves by washing hands, not greeting, not all these things, shaking hands and all those, hugging and everything. These subcommittees are working very hard in the region. Each committee has to provide information every second day to the main committee, that's the Regional Disasters Committee, where we share this information and give also some new tasks and assignments to the subcommittees. Today we had a meeting with the business people. I'm glad that the business people, they also understand very well the calamity that is facing the nation, and they are coming up also to create a subcommittee for themselves to organize other business people so that they can come up and see and support government efforts to look after or taking care of vulnerables. We have people, the vendors, who closed business. We have the open market, informal businesses all closed. All these people, they've been living on minimal income, so they will not take even 2 weeks or a month without selling. So these are the people that we have to look after. We approach the business people if they can come in and they really support this with anything, any kind of support, be it food or any other amenities that can assist our vulnerable people.
Also in the regions is our colleague Ohone Tlake, who is in the southern part of the country, also monitoring compliance with the lockdown and also how coronavirus preparedness is going on in those areas. So today he spoke to a community leader about free water that has been availed in Varambat in the south. This is what the community leader had to say.
My name is Ronnie. I'm from Varambat. I'm also the vice chair from the Varambat West Committee, whereby we are also part of the rural water supply, whereby we are monitoring our water. But we are also very glad that we receive a message from the CRO that the tap will be open from the next hour. The taps will be opened and the water will be freely for us, so that we can also be part to save and be outside from the coronavirus. We thank our Namibia.
This sums up tonight's edition of the Evening Review. I hope you enjoyed the episode like I did. We'll come back tomorrow again, same time, same place. Good night.
o COVID-19 oshikena. O COVID-19 omushithe omupembu mauyenene okutuna komapunga no midyu vyomathuvaneno obo iyetwa iyo muhoko wondwi yo corona. Ovikanena okukorora, oupyu owingi murutu, okuhino kuthuvana nawa. Themburuka kusha, ovirikushire vyoko murungu mavitho kuungulithiwa iyo vaungure vuveruke na imbamba vera rukuru. Vikamitha kusha odhombudhendo wa munu vathu komburo ompikame poyo washiri. Oranda nomburuma, ovinamodongeshefa mavitwirikwa rukwao kama avianda kako. Omiti omipange vyomuhithe womapunga kavino kushurura omuhithe mbwi o COVID-19. O COVID-19 kaiyenene okushindwa nukaihwangwa iyo tumwe. Kohorora omakewoye noheva aruhe. Aruhe koho makewoye noheva yomakenji no alkohola muyo, po koho makewoye nomeva ngenoheva. Gapekaro ruvede pokatiko vandu, aruhe shito gushapekare oruvede romukato wometa imwe, pokatiko yeno mundu ngumakorora po ngumatie odhombato. Penga okutuna komeho omayuru no shinyo. Omake tuna kovino vingi nietora odhondwi peke peke. Shia toora ondwinji omakewe ye maye nene okutwara ondwinji komeho poko mayuru poko shinyoshoye. Chero mbato po korrea mokatishu po moshipeteko. Aruhe horeka oshinyoshoye no katishu po moshipeteko shimokorora po shimotie odhombato. Nambilahi okatishu kwa ungulitha hakahana. Omapuwo washiri kuna inga wa mainjambo. Omirari vyotungo vyomahaka eneno vyeura no mahungi omengi ohunga no kusha ondwi yo corona maipengwa no kusha omushithe mbwi o COVID-19 mbuyetwa iondwi yo corona maupangwavi. Njorutare pamwe kwa mapuwo washiri na nguma edhiri o mainjambo shiva. Ohunga no mahwangero mainjambo maisha ondwi yo corona maiyenene okushindwa iyo tumwe no vikuria vyo vashina. Epuro washiri marisha kako ondwi yo corona ondwi yomurari wa mathuvaneno buhwangwa momata indu omundu shakorora po shatie ombato po shathuvana okupititha omunyo po okupitira muuta womate na momayuru. Ohunga nonjeverero omainjambo maisha okukoha po okuhua omayuru woye nomeva womongwa maku maye nene okushurura omahwangero womushithembwi o COVID-19. Epuro washiri marisha kako kapeno uhatui wokusha okukoha eyuru nomeva womongwa maye nene okiyama ovandu. Peno uhatui ongundi wokusha okukoha omayuru woye nomeva womongwa inga osaline yenena okuvatera ovandu mbavere oshinjumba shaka uriri okuhakahana okuverura pothia kakushaera omushithe mburi momirari vyomathuvaneno kako. Ombudi yaro ya mainjambo maisha omahungishi vakomirari vya mahaka ya nithiro maisha okulisha shano alkohola poshikariha morutu roye aruhe makuyenene okushurura o COVID-19 nokusha okushurura omeva omakohore po kunwa omeva omengi mayenene okupititha ondwinji morutu. Epuro washiri marisha kapeno uhatu imbuma uve uparitho maheango oparukade. Ongaro ombwa yo ukohoke no uveruke mumu no kukoha omakewo ye oruvede aruhe no kupenga okukara popelu no bandu makutitiparitha omahwangero. Ombudi yaro ya mainjambo maisha ovikahise vyomake mavienene kudepa ondwi yo corona. Epuro washiri marisha kako ovikahise vyomake kavina kieneno kudepa omushithembwi o COVID-19. Nungwari okukoho makewo ye no heva no make jino alkohola po okukoha omakewo ye no meva woheva mavienene okukuvatera. Omake omakohoke yeso kukahisiwa nawa nerapi ekohoke po ovikahise vyombepo. Omainjambu ware maisha omunyo mutaradhu po omunyo woupyu omawiro wamawe wombepera okuria ogalika po okurikoha nomeva omapyu vyarithiwa oshomiano mbima vienene okushurura ondwinji. Epuro washiri marisha kapeno uhatui mbuma uve uparitha omahea inga nokusha o COVID-19 maiyenene okutunwa iyo mwinyo wombepo po omakwede wombura. Omwano muthemba wokurishevera okukoho makewo ye oruvede aruhe nokupenga omahakaene nokweno vandumbu mapeya avekara nondwinji momwanombwi mweyenene okuithapo odhondwi nduma peya avekara komake woi nu openge okuhwanga iyo kulituna komeho oshinyo nganduko mayuru omainjambu aure maisha ufokudhara oshiriku shire sho komurungu orubede aruhe shuri penjeno njuo yoye epurarwero mainjambo marisha ufokudhara oshiriku shire sho komurungu orubede aruhe shuri penjeno njuo epuro wa shiri marisha kako obando baveruke mbehino bikanena byondwinji numbehiamunika omuhise wo corona vetho kudhara obirikushire komurungu indishimaveshevere omundu ngumahakerwa mu muhise mbwi po omundu ngwadhikamisiwa kusha unondwi omuhise mbwi obirikushire byokomurungu mabieneno kuungura indu shimokorora po shimotie ombato nobe pumotho kukara kobe omuni nowina bitho kuungurisiwa puno makohero wamake nodhongaro dharwe dhonjeverero youberuke ohungano mapangero omainjambo maisha omiti omipange byodho antibiotics mabienene okushurura nokupanga onduyo corona owashiri mausha omitimbi odho antibiotics kavirwitha odhondwidho mishithe nongwari virwitha oupuka ounamishithe omitimbio kama vishurura po kama vikupanga onduyo corona kapeno mitimbi mavishu kwa muruvede ndwimbi mavithulitha po mbi vipanga omuhithe wo corona pothio kusha imbambe no muhithe mbo mavene no kuunguritha omitimbi munika modhongandado miti omipange shimuna o paracetamol no aspirin